don't want to cooperate. All right, Israel. Most High Christ bless everybody. Yes, sir. So all praises, Israel, to the Most High for giving us the spirit to come here, fellowship, learn what the will of the Lord is. So we're going to finish off with Genesis chapter 26. If you can remember in the last lesson, at the end of the lesson, we went into how Esau, what is it? How Esau was the fornicator and how he gave up his birthright. He felt that, he sold his birthright, then he felt he got tricked out of the blessing. So when you read Genesis 25 and 34, it tells you that Jacob gave Esau bread and a pottage of lentils. So he gave him bread, meat, and lentil beans. And the meat wasn't even done cooking yet. And he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. And thus Esau despised his birthright. So Esau is Edom, and Edom is the European Union. What's up, Sister Shalom? So now we at Genesis chapter 26 and verse 1. And that was a famine in the land, beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. All right, so we all know what a famine is, a hardship of food. Okay, you're gonna run into another famine, especially if the trucks stop rolling. They're gonna smash them grocery stores. Hey, my advice to brothers and sisters, slowly but surely, get you some of the things. When this thing hit for real and it go all the way down, guess what? You're gonna be prepared. Make sure you have the rest of the toiletries. So because a lot of people still ain't went back to work. Some people are still working. They ain't gonna shut their little kingdom down all the way. They're gonna force some of you to still come to work, regardless if you get infected or not. That's how we are working in cotton fields. You sick, they still want you to come out there to work. You got a fever, the only way you get out of work is if you drop dead. All right. So some of you, we got to get into the habit of getting some of the supplies and things that you need. Extra toothpaste, store that stuff away, deodorant, sisters, those feminine products that you need to take care of your body. Make sure that you begin to store those things away. And yes, it's going to look strange that you might have 10 boxes of liners, 10 boxes of pads, and all the other cleaning products. That's all right, though. For real, how long is 10 boxes going to go? How long would that last? Somebody it's all right, answer. How long would something like that last? 60 years, 100 years, what, 10 months? Okay, well, what if this? That's enough. Thank you. So 10 months, that's not a long time. Because when it goes down, it ain't coming back up. When it goes down, it's done. That's what I'm trying to tell you. When it's done, it's done. You understand that? When it's done, it's done. So now you, one person, you got 10 boxes. What happens if you're in a house with 4 or 5 women? Or you got 4, 5, 6, 7 sisters, and now you're gonna have to split 10 boxes. You think you finna survive 10 months now? No. You will be smelling like that old heifer out in the yard. And heifer is a cow. Old moose. You ain't gonna be looking like no dime den. Shit. You smelling like dirt. So guess what? So now you need to start thinking each sister need about 50 or 100 of them things, right? So you can stay precious. Straight up. Hey, listen, if we don't keep it real and tell the truth, where you know, if you don't keep it real and tell the truth, when you gonna keep it real? When you run out. Then when you run out, then you're gonna be faced with that adversity once you run out. Nah. It's a lot of things that we got to do differently. A lot. If the Most High's will and the creek don't rise, we gonna have to get busy. Because when it hit us, we definitely want to be able to sustain ourselves and say, hey, I got some food and water and bread. You know those jars that they make, that they for sealing, for storing, stuff like that? We found a little spot. I know it's cheaper than Walmart on how to get a whole bunch of them. You always worry about that. Yeah, we learn how to, you know, I think it was a case of 2, 4, 6, 8. Was it 8 of them in like a case? 12 in a case for like $7.50. So you can seal vegetables, you can seal meats. So we needed stuff like that. Shalom, everybody. Shalom. So I know y'all don't think I'm tripping now. I'm saying it. So we're in Genesis 26 and verse 1. There was a famine in the land. So famine has always hit. Hey, when it hit us again, you definitely don't want to be out. Is there anybody that has those because Esau, he not trying to let you know that he folded, that he crippled. He coming down though. So if y'all got those couponing skills, it will be a great time to start couponing. You know, invest your money, spend your money, start couponing, doubling up. It will be a fantastic time to do things like that. You can have stuff and you can be able to barter. Now, truth be told, I've already bartered something. What's that mean? Barter, trade. I ain't gonna say what it is, but I took something that I had into a store. And in conversation, somebody said, oh, I needed this and I can't find it. I say, oh, okay. Well, I got this. Tell you what, you give me this now, I trade it up. So learn how to do that. Learn how to trade up. Don't trade down, trade up. I give you this for that. For exchange. And he went for it. A business. You say, I'm sitting here like, wow, are we really at this point? I'm sitting here testing the water to see where we at in life. I'm like, we really at this point? Yeah, we really at this point. I'm like, okay. So that lets me know the things that we have are hot commodities. Hold on to those things because you barter system. You understand? Barter system. It's something that Brother Rocky told me about that I realized someday is gonna be anybody should be able to trade this thing. But I know all of my brothers, all y'all got one. So you're gonna have to keep at least one. And also we need to make sure our sisters got one too. That is the tourniquet. A tourniquet. A tourniquet is a life-saving device. You get a hole in you or you get cut, tourniquet gonna stop you from bleeding out. Those things are priceless. A lot of people in times of war die out because they bleed out. You lose too much blood. You're gonna have to stop the blood. A blood won't clot from a big old open wound. All right. So a tourniquet, that thing is worth its weight in gold, especially during hard times. So back to Genesis chapter 26 and 1. There was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham, and Isaac went into Abimelech, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. Okay. Now, verse 2. It says, and the Lord appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt to dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and I will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed will I give all these countries. Now check this out. Yeah, I'm in verse 3. So the Most High is promising to Isaac, and unto Jacob will I give all these countries that you see, and I will perform the oath which I swore unto Abraham thy father. So that's Genesis chapter 26 and verse 3. So even though the Most High is promising all of these things, guess who would have to wait for him? Israel would have to wait. See, he's still speaking pertaining to the end of things, but he still have to let it know because it has to be passed down from generation to generation. This ain't something that would have to happen overnight or happen. It didn't even happen in our time. It didn't happen in Isaac's time. It ain't happened yet. This ain't happened yet. We still waiting for this to happen. Let's prove it. So now we're at Genesis chapter 26, and now read verse 4. Read that.
And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed.
Right. And in your seed, okay? And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. What seed is that referring to? What seed is that referring to? Now, let's go deeper than what you want to cry out and say. Just gave you a hint. What seed is that referring to? So whatever you want to say, don't say it. Go further mentally than that. And then you'll find your answer. What seed? Somebody.
Jacob.
Neither one of them. Christ.
Yeah.
Christ. Okay? Because Christ is going to come out of Abraham's. He's going to come out of Abraham. He's going to come out of Jacob because Isaac came out of Abraham and Jacob came out of Isaac and Judah came out of Jacob and Christ come out of who?
Judah.
Let's get that for him. Where he sprung out. Call it out for me.
Hebrews chapter 7.
14. Hebrews 7 and 14.
This is the book of Hebrews chapter 7, verse 14. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah.
Right. So everybody knows that. It's evident that our Lord, that he came out of who? He came out of Judah. So that's the seed that the Lord is talking about. All right. Let's go back. So now to add to that, I want the righteous in authority. Proverbs 29 and verse 2. The book of Proverbs, chapter 29.
This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
Right. When the righteous are in authority, okay, the people rejoice. So a week ago, we went over Isaiah 14, how once we take the kingdom and possess it, and we put the people in their place, etc., all the nations are going to rejoice. They're going to be happy. They're going to be happy because Esau, Edom, is down, and he can't torment people anymore. You know, this guy is slapping. When you slap what they call an embargo, am I pronouncing it right? It's an embargo. When you slap that on somebody, you cause a famine unto them. Somebody put into the access. Let's look it up so you can understand. And that's why they're gonna be happy. What's this? Embargo or something like that. If you get it, let me know. You got it? Okay. Embargo. You got it down. So it says an official ban. Are you paying attention? An official ban or trade or other commercial activity with a particular country. An official ban. So they ban from dealing with you. So whenever they slap embargoes on a lot of countries, and they be like, wait a second now. So now, how would you like it if you are a carpenter and let's say I'm an official and you're a carpenter. And so I go to all the hardware stores because I'm over there, but I slap an embargo on you. That means I have just banned us from dealing with you. How you gonna build? You can't build. The reason why you don't understand or feel the effects of an embargo is because you stay in the country that do it to other people. Therefore, your stuff keep flowing onto you. You keep going to the grocery store. So you don't understand. You ain't never been through no famine. But now what's happening is Now, the thing that they doing, because the Most High is causing the effect, they're going to be affected. Okay, they affected, and when they affected, they afflicted. He himself is persecuted, and once he began, like with the pestilence and things like that, the Most High say, He's going to cause these things to come in this earth. And so now, when he began to be persecuted and things like that, now he's going to try to find out, how do I resolve this situation, how this and how that, and then he'll do things out of despite. Here you go. He'll do things out of despite, like stopping the flow of goods, stopping the flow of transportation, and so on and so forth. We want things to capsize up, but we do want them to continue to get worse and worse and worse, because we got next. This kingdom got to fall. It's got to fall. People gonna die. Lights got to go out. Bombs got to hit. A lot of things, Why even? I mean, that's why you got to endure hardness. Hardness is what I'm saying. You have to be able to endure hardness, hard times. You're gonna have to acclimate your life to the event, to the chain of events that's transpiring. Acclimate means get used to. But right now, we like somebody that live in a southern state. You come to the Midwest. Southern states are Louisiana, Florida. Those states are warm states. You see, Georgia, Alabama. You come to the Midwest, you get a foot of snow, 2 foot of snow. They shut it down, and it's also freezing cold. So you're not used to that. And the first thing they want to do is they're like, man, I'm gonna get out of here. They come to Chicago by the Lake Michigan, and you can literally go outside in December and spit, and it freezes before it hit the ground. It's that cold. It's Arctic cold. So if you from one of those down south states, you're not used to that. I mean, you used to 66 degrees. I mean, you'll take that and you like, boo. 66 degrees. Women got flip flops on. They had lost their mind. You ever seen a woman lose her mind? Let it turn 66 degrees after the summer, after the winter. She's like, you forget it's still cold outside. But so you gotta get acclimated to the situations that's happening, because they're gonna go away. Food gonna go away. Gas, heat, forest air heat gonna go away. Summers, air conditioner gonna go away. The Lord might take some of us away from those evils, because that's exactly what it's gonna be. It ain't gonna be to the destruction. Oh, he got destroyed. Oh, he died. Yeah, he's destroyed. No. The Most High. You see, people's on the time. Some people's on the time limit. They're on the time. They're gonna run their course. Then the Most High gonna say, "Okay, I'm finna unleash hell from the earth. I don't even want you to go through that. You come to me." So then you have people pass away. So you got to get acclimated to the hard times. You gotta learn, right, VJ? You have to learn what's edible outside, what's not edible outside. You gotta learn what plants are poisonous, what berries are poisonous and toxic, which ones are, because if you can't get no food, you have to turn to Well, what do we eat? You just sit up there and not eat at all, or you start looking through the grass and the bushes. If you're in the cities, you're not finding no goats and deers and all that stuff walking around. The only thing you're gonna be able to find is some what you want to call weeds, but those are not weeds. That's food. God been blessing us with medicines and food all the time. We don't understand it though. All the time. Banning vacant lots and this, is that, and the third. High grasses and all of that. A lot of that stuff is edible. You just don't understand. All these cities were plantations. Before the houses and all the roads, there were plantations. So it's roots still coming up out the ground, still generating and reproducing and things like that. But you don't know it because they fed you from the store and they say, no, this is where you eat. And so you like, if this is where I eat, then I'm not gonna eat out there. And they got you. Like, I'm not gonna eat out there. Like I could take you to a fruit tree that's in somebody's backyard. And I can guarantee you 80% of you, if I didn't tell you that I'm finna do this little survey to see who would frown upon it and who would go after it, you wouldn't trust it. Or 90%, you'd frown at it. You're like, I don't know. And then you start thinking like, birds peed on this. You start thinking like that. You make every excuse. You make every excuse not to eat it. Because the man got you where he wants you. He got you eating out of the store, which is his hand. You see, and it's the complete opposite. Once they get to things, it's ruined. That's why we're sick. People today, there was a lot of people today are worse off than we were. If this is 2020, oh, I'm losing track of time. I can't count. 30 years ago. 30 years ago was what? 10? 90? Oh, we got to go back further than that. 40 years ago, 80, 40, 45 years ago, 75. People were a lot better, stronger, and healthier, and the population was more people. But the man, he stayed in the lab. He stays in the lab. You know, he's spraying wax on fruit and fruit straight off the tree. They will call it organic, and we like, oh, I want something organic. I want to be saying, dang it, this just mean they picked it and washed it and then they sent, and now it's in the shelf. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing special to it. I grew up with a pear tree, a peach tree, and an apple tree in my yard, man. 2 doors down was a plum tree. Okay? Around the corner, the lady had grapevines. Real story. Peach tree, peaches. Florida ain't the only one that can grow peaches, man. I had peaches this big, had fudge on them. I don't know what we're eating now. Peaches supposed to have fuzz on them. Is this right? Yeah. Peach is supposed to have fudge on them. Where's the fudge? You know? Peach fudge. Okay, that's why they call it a peach fudge. You youngsters, you start getting hair and call it a little peach fudge. Peach is supposed to have hair on them, man. Little fur. Real talk. And boy, you talking about good? Yeah. That's food right there. Organic. Hey, man. Citizen alert. State needs licensed healthcare workers assigned up at illinoishelps.net to fight the COVID-19. Yeah, they can't get enough workers to help combat the sickness that's out here. They want workers. Because a lot of people coming in, this thing is just steady tumbling and multiplying because people are not being diligent So follow instructions. You get a lot of different sayings where people are saying that it's false, it's a gimmick, it's not real. When my daughter worked in the hospital, real is real, and she in truth. Kenyatta is real.
Yes.
See that? She says real. She says real. If she says real is real. I'm asking her, did you see people sick? She's saying yes. I'm seeing people sick. Those are the same ones that are dying. You get sick, you die. All right. So when we come back in authority, that was Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Once we get the earth back, guess what? People gonna be happy. They waiting for us. Esau is the one that don't want us to get it back. He do not want you to get it back. And then on top of that, you know what else he's trying to do? He's trying to extend his name so that he can come back into the earth through his children. That's what he think. He's gonna come back into the earth through his children. Okay? And that's why they trying to lay down with you. Are we paying attention? You cannot go for the schemes. They trying to lay down and produce seed. See, we're not used to taking care of our children because of hatred and self-hate, and like children are used to loving their parents. So the Most High, he got to make a law. Why would you make a law? You make a law for something that's going wrong. Obey your parents. So he saw people not listening unto their parents. He come up with obey your parents. Amongst the nations, this is a real question. Amongst the nations, in there, what is that thing that they got? Like we got the commandments, they got this. What is this thing? Shalom. Constitution. In their constitution, do you see anything about that they have to obey their parents? You see? So the Most High, he created the laws for the things that we were lacking in and the things that we were doing wrong. So that's what honor your father and mother is about. Because Israel, you wasn't doing it. All right? So, me going to explain it, I'm lost my train of thought. Let's forget it. But the Lord, the Most High, he put these things in place so that, I was saying that Esau, he come back through his children. Israel don't give a damn about their children. And their children don't care about them. Edom, he's building a dynasty for his children. Israel, you ain't doing nothing for your children. You doing everything for yourself. Everything you doing is for yourself. You like, I'm gonna enjoy this, that, and the third. You get yours. It get to the point to where you will be in all-out blows fighting your child if push comes to shove. You do things like drink with them, get high with them. You do all kind of whore with them. You do all different type of things. Not all people though. Not all people. Okay, but a vast majority of Israelites have a wicked mind to where you treat your child like that's your friend. No, I'm your father. I'm not your friend off the street. I'm your father. So I have to respond like a father. You have to respect me like a father. You have to expect a fatherly response, a fatherly behavior. You understand? Yeah, that's the difference. So the point is that this man, y'all got to be careful that you don't, I'm interested in him. No, you don't do that, because his whole scheme is to try and come back, but he can't do it. He ain't got to worry about trying to come back because he ain't going nowhere. He got a sentence, 1,000-year captivity, and then he gonna be thrown into the lake. So he ain't got to worry about trying to do that. All right, because his whole mind state is we're gonna endure. We're gonna endure forever, and that's one of the ways that they saying that they're gonna endure forever. I start watching the beginning of a series, 100, where there was an explosion or something that blew up, and they escaped. All Edomites, they like, they escaped. They left the earth, and now they flying around in space, in capsules and all that types of spaceships and all that stuff. So several generations later, they running out of food. This is they like, now we want to get the earth back. So what you don't understand is the thing that they mocking that happened on earth is the destruction that the Lord said He's gonna bring down upon the earth. So their ideal is we're gonna escape, we're gonna leave from the earth. So they've always known that the Most High, they just didn't know when it's gonna happen. And so that's why they keep trying to get to the moon. You understand? I don't ever believe they've been to the moon. They've never been to the moon. The Neil Armstrong, who took his picture? You see? And it wasn't a selfie. Who took his picture? So the whole objective is to try and survive, preserve life, so that they can, try and stay in force. But they can't do it. So they're gonna finally come down, excuse me, and everybody's gonna be happy. So this is Genesis 26:4, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven. That seed there is the seed of Israel. That's the seed of Israel right there. That's all Israelites that stand stiffly. That's why it's so important that you be a commandment keeper. And when you need help, you have to reach out and get help. Get the correction, the instruction, the reproof of life. Stop worrying about how you look. Stop worrying about your clothes and all of that. The Lord said the Gentiles seek that. What Gentiles that he's talking about? He's talking about Israelite Gentiles. The Lord is not concerned about the other nations. Let's go get that in the book of Matthew. Okay, Matthew chapter 6. And verse 31. No, let's start at verse 29.
Matthew 6:29. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these.
So we know who Solomon was. Solomon, the king of David, in his time, the richest man in the world. And it didn't matter, check it out. It didn't matter how Solomon draped himself with jewels, or he was the king of drip, because he was. Solomon, he had so much flyness to him. He had, how many women did he have?
700.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get it. Y'all stay there. We're going to 1 Kings 11. You write it in your notes. He said he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines. 700 wives and princesses. and 300 concubines. So you want to talk about drip? You want to talk about looking good? You need gold to get that girl?
You're right.
That boy had plenty of gold and money. He had plenty of money. You know, the Most High loved him, and he loved the girls. And he went off. He went off. The thing that he let it go to his head, the thing the Most High told him not to do, he did it anyway. So, with all the money and paper that he gold, I ain't gonna say paper, all the money and coin that he had, his lavish life that he had, check this out. So now we're back at Matthew chapter 6 and 29. And yet I say unto you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. He's talking about a simple flower. That was 1 Kings 11 and verse 3, where I went to. So with everything that Solomon had, all his good looks, I don't know. I'm say an ugly man don't get 1,000 women, but money could buy anything, won't it? Yeah. You can have 10 big toes. Oh, you can have 10. Sisters, you can have 10. You can have 10 of the same toes, 10 big toes, right? 10 big toes, and you have that coin. She gonna ignore them toes. She gonna get her own money out the deal and pretend like that's okay. Hey, don't laugh at a lame man that's scoring. I don't look at his feet. I understand. But verse 30. Wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which is today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not so much clothe you, O ye of little faith? Okay, so don't put your attention on how you looking. Therefore, take no thought, saying, what we shall eat, or what we shall drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed. What is that really going into? Verse 31. Take no thought what we shall. Now, let's think. Let's think a little deeper than the understanding that we have on this right here, and just take a stab at it. Take no thought, Obadiah. Is he here? Oh yeah. Okay. What you're gonna eat and drink, and wherewithal shall we be clothed? Let's think a little deeper. Well, I call y'all and y'all like you ain't even been called, man. Okay, Tuala.
I don't know. Deeper than food, clothing.
It's got something to do with food, clothing. It says, therefore, take no.
Let that be your focus. I mean, you get that.
Okay, that's what we always say. Now you got to go a little bit deeper than that. It's still pertaining to food. Somebody's online. Go ahead. That's correct. Nobody? Please don't say what he said.
Let's say, worrying about where your next meal will come from?
Nah. Take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, and what shall we drink, and wherewithal shall we be clothed? That's the initial. That everybody can understand that. But let's get a little deeper than that. Let's go further than that. Inside of your house, what is it like? The thoughts of the food and the drink and the clothes. What is it like? He compared you to Solomon. Why would he have to correct us and tell us that Solomon in all his glory did not even amount up to the lilies of the field?
Might be content with basic food and drink.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Right? Because inside of the house, Mayana's like, I don't want to eat this. And I'm like, well, don't eat this. Get out the kitchen. So she got to learn to eat what's there instead of taking thought for, I don't want this. And now mama is running to the store to get some steak and cheese steak and all that because I don't want to eat this. Why are you thinking about the quality of the greatness of the food and the drink? You understand? I'm like, can't these children just drink water sometime? They got to have the top shelf drink. You understand? Give them something simple. You understand? I'm just telling y'all, you got to get calibrated to what's coming because you ain't going to always be able to have what you've been having. But are you listening? And wherewithal shall we be clothed. This is what I said. Don't worry about keep on going out dripping up. Save some of that, right? I had to tell Nabi, don't buy nothing. Oh, Sham, he was gonna look like Superfly. If I hadn't got to him last night, he described what he was gonna wear. Man, that outfit was gonna be about $700. But you should see the shoe. The shoes alone. He said it. The shoes alone. This. Saying like, brother, you actually finna get this outfit? I'm like, yeah, his brother was gonna be walking around like he going to the prom or something. This outfit, brother, it's gonna be a Mackin outfit if I've ever seen one. You understand? This brother straight off the Mac. All right? Like, don't buy that stuff, man. Right? No, don't buy that. Keep your money. All right, you want to impress somebody? Be like, yeah, man, I got a savings. I've been saving. You understand? That's impressive right there. So now you show up, you looking like $1,000, but you broke. You broke though. You understand? So now listen, verse 32 gonna get you. It says, "For after all these things do the Gentiles seek." God don't care about them other nations. He's talking about Israelite Gentiles. He's like Israel that's chasing the world. That's how they think. All right? That's how they think. We're telling you, we're not setting you up for failure when we tell you, Elisha, stop buying 10 pair of shoes. He really expressed himself and let me know how he felt. He did it in action. So I'm like, dang, son, is that what you wanted me to do? This boy got more tennis shoes than LeBron's. I'm like, I'm gonna buy a pair or two a school year. Bro, won't stop buying sneakers. I'm like, man, is that what you was looking for? I'm like, you understand? He's speaking through expression, through his actions. I'm like, wow. No. Israel in the world is doing that. You watch television. Who watched that The Shot? Anybody here watch The Shot? Okay. Oh man, y'all missed a heck of a. It's about Chicago, but they named it The Shot. CHI.
Is it on TV or Netflix?
Yeah, some of it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. Oh man. Well, anyway, one of the characters, that's all he did was collect them tennis shoes. He got tons and tons of tennis shoes. The ones that cost thousands of dollars too. The average shoe that he walked around in was $300. The others was like $2,000 tennis shoes. He sold a couple of pair of them to get on his feet. And said, "Oh, I'm in need of something. Sell this pair of spur worth $2,000." That's what they go after. For your Father, Heavenly Father, knoweth you have need of all these things. He knows that you have need of food, water, clothing, drink, stuff like that, right? Okay, read that next part for me.
But seek ye first the kingdom of God.
That's why I'm see, what does it take to get into the kingdom? Keeping of the commandments. What does it take to get into the kingdom? Keeping of the commandments. And that's why, I'm gonna convert us and revert us and turn us right back around to the person in the mirror to say, hey, what can I do to be better? Regardless of what your shoes look like, if they new, if they old, regardless of what you got, where you been, your job, how much money, how much you got, how much you ain't got, guess what? Ain't none of that is gonna be on that scale with you. Your works are gonna be on that scale. And you better be worth your weight in gold.
That's right.
Because if you a vessel unto dishonor, you're gonna be booted out. And you can't show up looking good. You ain't gonna have no sneakers on your feet. Mm-mm. No, ain't none of that. The clothes you was pimp sharp, that stuff, it ain't gonna be around, man. It's gonna be you standing there. So you gotta seek the kingdom. What can I do that's gonna make my calling and election sure? What can I do? What behavior do I need to adjust? What correction do I need to apply? Go ahead.
And his righteousness.
And his righteousness, not our righteousness. Because if it's according to our will, he gonna recompense it. Everybody understand that? That part we need to focus on. If you do something he gonna his instructions, and you gonna lean to your own understanding, he gonna recompense it. It's called cause and effect. He is going to affect you because you went off. You went off. Something that you got to understand, the words that we speak unto you are not our words. You know what our words as men is about? Covetousness, idolatry, which is let me esteem something, let me just go after my own mind. Alcohol, drugs, girls. Not an Israelite. Well, what makes the donkey right? Because the Most High used it to correct man. Let's get that and find it for them. Show them. Because oftentimes we hear one another speak, and we're trying to figure it out. Which one is it? Is it man? Or is it God the Most High? Bear with me. Find it?
It is. 20 years.
Is that where it start? Numbers 22 and 22. All right. Numbers 22 and 22.
This is Numbers chapter 22 and verse 22. And God's anger was kindled because he went, and the angel stood in the way of the adversary against him. Now he was riding upon his ass, and his two servants were with him. And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand.
So now the ass saw something that Balaam didn't see. So that shows you that animals have senses, and the Most High will show them things that we don't even see. Okay, go ahead.
And the ass turned aside out of the way.
Because remember, Balaam is supposed to curse Israel. Okay, Balaam is supposed to curse Israel. All right, because Balak had sent him, and he's on his way to do it. And so the ass, he turned aside. I'm just verse 23. The ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way. So you just imagine somebody riding this donkey, and the donkey sees the angel. He sees a spirit. He sees the angel of the Lord in the spirit standing on the path with a sword drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out of the way. It's like, I'm not going that way right there. This guy comes in, it's like, I'm not going that way. Okay, go ahead.
And went into the field.
Right, he went off the trail and went over into the field. Go ahead.
And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in the path of the vineyards, a wall being on this side and a wall on that side.
Right.
And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself onto the wall.
Right. So she tries to go around even further, but she couldn't. Go ahead.
And crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again.
So far, can everybody imagine this? What we're saying? This man is riding his beast, and the beast sees something that he doesn't see. And he's like, this dumb animal, why are you doing this? Go ahead.
And the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place where no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote. And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass.
Stop. Right there. The Lord opened the mouth of the ass. Now the ass is going to talk. So the ass is going to be right. Go ahead.
And she said unto Balaam, what have I to thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times?
This is what the donkey is saying. Go ahead.
And Balaam said unto the ass, because thou hast mocked me, I would there were a sword in mine hand, for now would I kill thee. And the ass said unto Balaam, am not I thine ass, upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine unto this day? Was I ever want to do so unto thee? And he said, nay.
What? Right. Have I ever done this? So he's actually having this conversation with the ass. Go ahead.
Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And he bowed down his head and fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee, because thy way is perverse before me. And the ass saw me and turned from me these 3 times. Unless she had turned from me, surely now also I had slain thee and saved her alive. And Balaam said unto the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I knew not that thou stoodest in the way against me. Now therefore, if it displease thee, I will get me back again.
So now, who was right and who was wrong between Balaam and the ass? Right. Ass speaking animal was right. Okay. Sometimes you might not see what somebody else sees. You might not understand. if the ass would have continued to go forward, he'd have lost his life. He'd have lost his life. We have got to learn that when people are telling us things, the Most High has moved them to tell us, even though you don't see how they see. The Most High just used an example of a beast that he used. So if he could use the beast, he definitely is going to use his servants to obstruct you from doing something that is going to destroy you or hurt you. Okay. So now let's lose that and finish Matthew.
That's crazy. Talk to it, though.
So Matthew 6:32, for after all these things do the Gentiles see. So when we're telling you, brothers and sisters, to, that's what Israel in the world is like. That's what they're doing. You still trying to be in the truth and be concerned about those things, and you're trying to hold on to the life that you had in time past, while still trying to maintain that type of look while you're in the truth, but you're not concerned about the Most High's kingdom and his righteousness. And we can tell because you would rather just be at war and go to and be at odds with us when we're correcting you out of the laws of the Most High, while you still standing tall like Gentiles, like the Gentiles. And who are the Gentiles? Yariel?
Israel that are following Gentiles.
Right, Israel in the world. Israel is Gentiles in the flesh. Because according to 1 Peter 4:4, they are working the will of the Gentiles. All right? So, now the latter part of verse 33, it says, but all these things shall be added unto you. So he knows how to then turn around when you put in the work, give you the job that you can provide for yourself, and you can buy the things that you want. But he wants your priority to be upon what? The commandments. All right. Now, verse 34, read that.
Take therefore no thought for the morrow.
Because some people will be worrying. You could be having a conversation with them today, and they'll just start worrying. They say, no, you gotta tell them, no, let's not even worry about tomorrow. Let's just get through the day. Let's worry about today. Okay? Because you get corrected today, now you got to think about how to change and how it's going to be affected, and all the people that you have connections to. You can't worry or think about none of that. You have to only think about today and what's being said to you today. Because when something is said unto you, now you have to go and apply it. Yeah, you have to go and apply. You have to do it. The Bible says, I made haste. David said, I made haste, I delayed not to keep thy commandments. So you cannot put off from day to day when we get instructed to do something. We have to be willing and ready to do it right soon, right away. Okay, go ahead.
For the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself.
That's right. When you get to tomorrow, after you have had that day's experience, you're going to know what to think. You're going to know what to think. You're going to know what to do when that day comes, tomorrow. So worry about tomorrow. Some of us be thinking about tomorrow and it don't even go that way. We can have plans to do something tomorrow, then tomorrow come, you didn't even get a chance to do it, but you worried the day before about all of that the whole time. See? We have to train our mind to apply the scriptures. And if you do that, you're going to have less stress on yourself, less mental anguish upon yourself, less vexation of spirit upon yourself. Because you can be, you could disappoint yourself today based upon thoughts for tomorrow. And therefore pour the spirit of grief into your life. And person like, what's wrong with you? tomorrow, this, that. Like, huh? Tomorrow? Then somebody tell you tomorrow ain't even promise. But, and because of lack of understanding, you continue to proceed to talk about tomorrow. When you need to do what? Comfort yourself with applying the scriptures today and let it be. All right? Go ahead.
Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
Sufficient is a certain amount. Every day has a certain amount of what? Evil. So today, the evil got dealt with by exhortation. Today, the evil got dealt with by how?
Exhortation.
Exhortation. That's a conversation. And in that conversation, you cannot turn one another around. You cannot tell your brother, no, I don't want to hear it. No, I don't want to talk about it. No, I don't want to deal with it. He has to deal with it because a brother was born for adversity. It's your adversity. Woe to him that is alone. You are alone, and by you being alone, you battling Satan. You're dealing with thoughts. You're having a hard time. So instead of dealing with yesterday or tomorrow, let's deal with today. Let's get you better today. Let's get you better right now. How do we do that? By the word. The Bible says a young man will cleanse his way by taking heed. So you got to be willing to take heed. You got to be willing to listen. If you're not willing to listen, then you don't want to feel better. And if you do want to feel better, then let's talk. Let's deal with it. Okay? And then once we deal with it, we're not thinking about yesterday or we're not thinking about tomorrow. We good today. Now we need to know what is the next step that's going to help you feel better than you did a moment ago. So because we want to increase our energy. We want to increase and build the spirit in our mind. Because tomorrow gonna come and you might not, that might roll off like you got duck feathers. You know what I mean? Ducks don't drown. So they swim, they float on the water. You ever see them? They cool as a bug. They ain't edible, but look, they cool as hell. They cool. You understand? They ain't drowning. They floating. So when that stuff come to you, you're going to float. And it's going to happen because of the day before you got stronger from the person that helped you. All right? Does everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
Right. Let's go back. All right. So for Genesis chapter 26 and 5, read that.
Because then Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws.
And because of that, now check this out. The Lord said that He's going to deal righteous with his seed because Abraham obeyed his voice, kept his charge and his commandments, his statutes, and his laws. And because Abraham did that, He's going to bless his what? James. He said, I don't know. I was thinking about home. He going to bless what? No. I'm a bird. I'm there. That's why you got to pay attention. All right. A bunion.
See.
He going to bless his seed. That's very important. That's very important. That tells us, listen, that if we keep the commandments, the Most High going to bless our seed. That tells us that. So all you fathers in here, better start getting your lives together. I mean, you better start working no matter what. Waiting and hoping that the Most High will bless your seed. Even you mothers do the same thing. Keep these commandments, praying that the Most High will bless your children. Okay? The opposite of this is, we ain't going to go there, but I'm going to quote it because we all know it. Hosea 4:6. Where the Lord said, because you have forgotten the Lord thy God, I'm going to forget your children. So it's important for us to remember the commandments of the Most High. Let me see. Choice for us to he and kept my charge, meaning when I charged him to do something, listen to this. Oh, oh. Y'all know what that is right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. He said, What you think that is?
His counsel, his command.
There you go. His counsel. See, at different times, the Most High would tell him to do something, and he did it. At different times, when the Most High tell you to do something, it's just self-examination. Did you do it? When the Most High tell you to do something through a brother or through a sister, sisters talk to sisters, brothers talk to brothers. And when we do that, and the elder, I'm talking to everybody. So in your personal life, when the Most High commands you a charge, that charge might be for you. Say, for instance, Uzziah. The Most High might be like, what do I do? That's that a lot of look. The Most High might give you a charge that you don't need to charge a novel. Novel something different. He got a different charge. So what he might use me to charge a novel with, it might be different from James. Everybody have their own charge. Okay? Even down to the sisters. You get charged, meaning you get instructed to do something that's pertaining to you. Things that you didn't see, that the Most High come around and show you and say, hey, this is for you. You need to keep this. Don't do that. Now, is that one of his 10 commandments? No. But you can find it in the laws. And it'll be particular because it'll be instructing you on a personal level what to do and what not to do, what to stay away from and what to do to avoid punishment. Go to Ezra, because it's going to say that. That's a charge. Oh. Second Ezra, if you get it, call it out.
21.
Second Ezra chapter 7. Second Ezra 7 and verse 20, start 20.
Second Ezra chapter 7 and 20. For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of God that is set before them. For God hath given strict commandment to such as came.
Strat meaning straight, narrow. That's why remember the angel kept leading them into the narrow passage so that he couldn't avoid and get around them. He said, you got to come through me. All right? You got to. Go ahead.
What they should do to live.
What they should do to live. So a lot of times we'll tell you, hey, we'll give you something very strict. We're going to put restrictions. That's what strict. We're going to bring God will put restrictions. Okay? And then he can tell you what you to do to keep living. Live in this. Do it this way. Don't do it the old way, what you used to do. Do it this way. Go ahead.
Even as they came.
Go ahead.
And what they should observe.
And what you should observe, meaning what you should walk in. Go ahead.
To avoid punishment.
To avoid punishment. That's what this talking about. That's exactly what it's talking about. All right. He kept that charge. Abraham kept that charge. You, brothers and sisters, have to keep that charge, man. You got to keep that charge. If you don't, you're hurting yourself. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him,
You see that? But Abraham was. They were not obedient unto him, but Abraham was. Go ahead.
but spake against him.
But they spake against what? Check this out. What did they speak against? The charge. Say the charge. They spoke against the charge. They charged you to do this. I ain't gonna do that. Why I gotta do that? That's stupid. This makes me feel this way. This you speak against the charge. You don't understand that what you're doing is hurting you. Like, I'll give you an example. The most I charged us when we first came through the door before we got on live, take care of yourself. See, don't be lackadaisical and just take it for granted. And I'm just gonna be out there. COVID is real. And if they have the cure, they ain't giving none out because for real, you know, Esau Edom, he want people to die. So guess what? What good way of killing folks by letting them die? That's a charge. If you don't have to, don't. Just kick back. Take the vacation. We want things to turn right side up to where, okay, this thing subside. It's always been times where God has killed people, man. Always. In mass numbers. You just have not been able to identify because you living in an environment that has taken God away from you, and now they your God. You see? Yeah. Now they your God. They your judge, jury, and executioner. And you don't believe, and a lot of people don't believe in the God of the Bible. They make you do and tell you the truth because they know that you're a spiritual person, that God is inside you. They do this like this. And say, I swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. You gonna do it, nigga? You say, yeah, I'm gonna do it. It's like, okay. Then they take it and they put it away, and then they bring out the penal codes. Because now you ain't swore to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. And you like, God is gonna get me if I lie because I swore on the Bible. I swore to tell the truth because they use God to get the truth out of you. But they have taken your God away from you. God in Deuteronomy chapter 32, 39 say, I kill. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and 39, he says, I kill. So when our people are dying, or other people are dying, or anybody is dying, the Most High say, whoo, it's time for him to die. He get the virus. Or bam, he get the bullet, or he get the car accident, or he get this, or he get that. The issues of death belong to the Lord. They belong to the Most High. He's got to turn it down. We'll tell him to turn it down a little bit. So, we were given a charge. Some of you were taken lightly. Some of you going to say, oh, that was just sham talking. Okay. Go ahead and shut it all the way back there. Brown man. Israelite man. Hebrew. He like, that's the one I like. Okay, sorry. All right. That's an example of a charge. Right. That's an example of a charge. And you would notice because it's gonna shepherd you into a straight way. So for all of you that was out there loose, still running around like ain't nothing without a cause, humble yourself. I understand that there are things that you got to do, places you got to go, people you got to see. Watch other people because everything ain't being patrolled like you, told like you, taught like you. Everybody might not be just like you. So watch out for the hurt you. All right. Being humorous. But that's just an example of a charge. So it's Second Ezra chapter 7, and it was verse 22. Nevertheless, they were not obedient, but they spake against him and imagined vain things. So you spoke against the charge, and then you imagine. You know what the vain things is? That ain't gonna happen. What you say gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen to me. It says, and deceive themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High, He is not. What does it mean? He is not. He is not going to. Not so much as God don't exist. Because how is it you listening to the laws, but you saying He don't exist? It's not saying that He don't exist. It's saying that you're telling yourself what He not gonna do. Because every time we instruct you, or let me say, I instruct you, counsel, give you advice. You know what happens? You're gonna either say, I fear that happening unto me, God forbid that will happen unto me, or you're gonna be like, He ain't gonna do that to me. I heard what you're saying, but that's you. That's you. He's not going to do that. That's what that means. You say He is not. I'm using the scriptures to tell you the judgment for doing what you're doing, not listening. Okay? It says, and knew not His ways. So the whole objective is to put you on a path where His ways is, which is His law. But His law, they have despised and denied His covenant. So God came into a covenant with us, right, Samarian? It's like an agreement. You agree to be the perfect daughter, and He agrees to be God to you. Nobody is supposed to break that covenant. In His statutes, they have not been faithful and have not performed His works. And therefore, Ezra, for the empty are empty things. So if that means if you don't do anything and you empty and there's nothing that you can say, well, you know what? I'm doing that, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and then I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but you empty, you're like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing this and then I'm doing that. Guess what? It's empty. It's empty. You're empty. You don't get rewarded. You don't get blessings. But then it says, and for the full or full things. And that's why I always counsel and instruct you to apply the scriptures to fullness. To fullness. Everything that the Most I give you to do, I instruct you to do it. I also offer help, counsel, and instruction. And it'll also lead you in the direction and say, okay, well, here's somebody to walk with. That's what the community is for. That's what the fellowship of the Spirit is for. Here's somebody to even walk with. Here's somebody to even talk to. If you're a woman, there are women. If you're a man, there are men. If you're young men, there are young men. If there are young women, there are young women. You understand? So you get full by applying the commandments that the Most High give you and everything that He showed you. Now that's the new task. That's the homework. That's the job. That's the responsibility. Let me get better at the thing that He showed me. Now you understand it. You're applying it, regardless of if you weaken. When I say weak, meaning you're not very strong. You're doing it. It's a difference between if you got the bar and you got 225 on there. That's 2 plates. And let's just say 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds for sisters. 40 pounds. That's 10 plates. That's 2. That's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got some sisters like, Then you might have some. Damn. You should have seen them out there. Like, what is this? Shoot, I'm scared to pitch the ball to her. She hit it. I said, this girl is for real. So she would be one of the ones like this. pushing that thing. Then you got another one. Who was that? Barely pushing it. I always mess with them. Barely pushing it. They both doing it. They both full. Just because one's strong and one weak doesn't mean that they ain't doing anything. Same brothers. 225. Rocky. Boom. 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 Yash, he like, I can do it too. he like an earthquake on the bench. Give me a spot. Give me a spot. You need a spot. We have to grab it, you know what I'm saying, and rack it for him. It's all right, big. All right, baby, you did a good job. Both of them full. They both trying. That's how he is in the scriptures. You got to be trying. Now you got somebody that walked away from the bench. They ain't both of them, male, female, they walked away. They ain't empty. When it comes to the scriptures, we cannot be empty. We got to be trying. Because as long as you're on that bench trying, you're going to sooner or later, you're going to get stronger. You're going to get your bench up. You're going to get stronger. Okay? So, that's it for that. We're going to finish Genesis 26 and get out. So, Genesis chapter 26. Well, we don't even want the rest of this. Jump over to Genesis 27. Y'all can read the rest of this at home. Genesis chapter 27 and 1. It says, and it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here am I. So you know what? We'll stop it there. We'll stop and we'll get Genesis 27 on Thursday. And then, let's see. Oh, man, it's gonna be tough, ain't it? Yeah. Oh, I know what. So listen up. Friday, because we still have to get into Egypt, and we still a long way off. And then even going into Egypt, it's still a long story, and we got quite a bit. So we have to put some extra work in. Now we can either come on Friday or we could do it from home. Doesn't matter to me. So what was that? So we'll determine that tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I'm gonna try and do that. I'm gonna try and use Wednesdays for that therapy with Kasab. You know, for married couples, So tomorrow, Wednesday, Kasada and I'm gonna try and see if we can link up together again and do marriage counseling and therapy. And so, brothers and sisters that are married, needing help and having questions, feel free to log on. So, most highs will, it may end up being around the same time as our regular class, between 6:30 and 7:30. But if you get the announcement, just jump on and prepare yourself. All right. So I'm going to try to open up Wednesdays for that. Also, our classes on the Sabbath are for women. The women's class, the Jewish class, is for women only. So brothers that are getting in those classes, if your wife is on that in that class, that's something totally different. All right. But other than that, brothers, just steer clear of that. Let the sisters have that. That is a woman's only class. You know, Israel is, I definitely don't want to be a stumbling block to anybody. I've seen some bait posts concerning women. What is this women teaching live on Facebook? Well, at the end of the day, Titus 2 tells women to teach women. And that's the deal. So whether they do it in person, whether they do it on the phone, or whether they do it in a conference, that's their prerogative. So any man that don't like it, I tell you what, read the scriptures. Read the scriptures. Okay. And that's that. So yeah, we are definitely marching down into the Passover. Every brother and sister should be keeping Passover. You know, questions about Passover, don't hesitate to inbox me. It starts April the 7th at even, and the closing is the 14th at even, 13th at even to the 14th at even. Yeah, brother, they do. But I'm just gonna hold it. So if you have questions, you need a lamb. What are some of the bitter herbs? And that the Most High don't want you to wait until the last minute to go out and start trying to get things. Go ahead and say it out. Arugula. I probably haven't heard that. I just be eating it. Arugula. Yeah, we want it bad. Better. We want you about ready to throw a puke like that. Puke. Oh, we find the worst bitter herbs that you can find. We want bitter herbs because guess what? That you know what the bitter is? It represents the captivity and the slavery, the hardships. That bitter herb. It ain't supposed to taste good like turnip greens and all that. You know, give me some turnip greens and you make it. Nah, it ain't supposed to be like that. All right. So I know it's one of them that used to be real bad, and until people got used to it. Which one was that? What's one that's hot? Horseradish. Yeah. Horseradish. Yeah, we see that. He like that. I like that. This Mikey. He likes it. He likes it. This Mikey. You know, we used to serve the horseradish, and people was free frowning. It was hot. Oh, it's hot. You know. Milk thistle, just to name a few. Good. What's that? Chicory. That's what you just said, right? Chicory, hickory, dickory, though. And dandelion ain't really bitter. Oh my God. Is that so? I know I've heard wormwood. I'm humble. I'm humble. You get the wormwood, that stuff, that junk there. See, now you know the Most High, he do certain things. Y'all can start the communion. The Most High, he do certain things, man, to have us commemorate the hard times that our nation has been through. So if it tastes nasty to you, just imagine how it felt to them, right? Yeah, wormwood is nasty. I remember a brother years ago gave me some wormwood to take as a cleansing. I'm down for anything, but that's the only thing that I couldn't do. That's probably the only thing that I could not do. I could not do the wormwood. It was that bad. It tastes like death, but then it was bad, man. So hey, y'all gonna have to turn into some troopers because I don't want to spur y'all because I know this. I don't want to spur it and chop up the lessons. Typically, see how I just okay, well, forget the rest of the 26. Let's go to 27. It's so much detail because the whole intention. Let me explain what's going on. What we did, remember we started with Abraham. And Abraham is the grandfather to, can y'all cut that water off? That should have been done. Abraham is the grandfather to Jacob. So where he came from, his promises, why is he so significant? Why is Jacob so significant? What's so special? Because if you learn while that he's so special, you got to learn that the promise started with his grandfather. And it made him special, then it made his children special and their descendants, and that makes you special. So it's called Journey to the Passover because it starts with Abraham and it journeys all the way until Israel goes into Egypt and all the things. Stop it, son. Common sense should tell you, put that down and away. I don't see how y'all little ones can do stuff like that. You know I'm going to say something. If I was around somebody that would say something to me, I would not do anything. So I'm trying to explain to you how significant the history is pertaining to the journey to the Passover, because it entails everything that's supposed to befall you. And if you could pay attention through all the different series, then that's good for you. That means that you get a vast understanding and education from start to finish, at least from Abraham, because that's who the Most High made that promise with Abraham. But guess what? To be honest, we even went back to Adam. You understand? Because the seed that the Most High was talking about to Eve, that the enmity between thy seed and his seed, that seed is still Yahushua. All right, so we went back all the way up into Adam and then come all trouble all the way up through, a lot of times you don't know how to look for these things. So when you get somebody that's going to take their time out and read these things with you, you're supposed to be at the front of your seat saying, oh, okay. Oh, for real? Oh, okay. And dots. Because most people just throw lamb and bitter herbs in front of you and say, this is the Passover. Then it's not what you want. You want to know, what is this? What am I eating? So we're going to show you why, who, How'd they get there? Why are they there? Why are they so special that God chose them? You understand? And then all the things that happened in Egypt, the chain of events, how the Most High severed the land of Goshen, what Israel was, from the Egyptians, so that Israel was still good during during the time when he was destroying Egypt. And then how we projected to be good while the Most High is destroying modern day Egypt. You see? So you need to know that stuff. And I don't want to see countenance. Well, okay, let me cut him some break. Let me, that I don't want to do you like that. But I'm gonna feed off of you. If you can't take it, then I'm gonna be like, okay, forget the rest of that chapter. Because so y'all kind of, that's not helping you out. Because I understand, I know the history, I know the story. It makes sense to me. I want it to make sense unto you, so that guess what? When you're up here and then the crowd changes, because these seats rotate. When the crowd changes, you're going to be able to do the same thing to somebody else because you get it. Okay? And then the time of Christ. Christ died on the Passover. So then we got to get to that. That's a whole big ordeal right there. Now, how do we keep the Passover? Do we keep it through Moses or we keep it through Christ? We keep it through Christ. All right? So all of that, all of those things brings understandings to the table to where we have to understand these things according to scripture. And we live and die by the principles of the scriptures according to the scriptures through Christ. And it takes time to explain those things, not just we read it, a chopped up version, and then expect for you to get it or understand it. I know people don't understand like that. You can't read half a book. Like you can't read, like if I was to weigh the Passover in a balance, the way that I teach it, I guess it would have to be in 4 parts. So the journey is from Adam to Abraham. That's one part. And then from Abraham to Jacob, that's where we at now. That's 2 parts. And then from Esau going off, and that's where we started today. But then Jacob and everything that happened with Jacob. Okay. And then Jacob meeting his wife, Leah, and then Rachel, and then the order of the children, which is the tribes of Israel, which are all of your brothers. So it takes time. That's a whole another part right there. And then what transpired with Joseph, then how they had to go into Egypt. So that's still in that whole part. So maybe 5 parts. And then once they in Egypt, everything that transpired in Egypt, bring those things to life. And then turn up the Dolby sound system to where you can see and you can feel it. That's a whole other part there. But it doesn't stop right there. Then now the Messiah, our Lord, King, and Savior, just like Edom have presidents, they love these dudes. These dudes take care of them. No president have ever liberated the children of Israel and returned them back to their land. You see? So they like that because they own businesses and we work for nickels and pennies and dimes. Because that's how our money is. Even though they give you a check for $700-800, nickels and pennies and dimes. Because their checks be 70 and 80,000 and $100,000 checks. They have millions of dollars and we have pennies, nickels, and dimes. So we're still in slavery and captivity. You understand? So now, why Christ is so important? Because Christ is foretold to liberate us from that situation and then share all his wealth with us. That's the story that needs to be told. All right? And his life, death, burial, resurrection happened on the Passover. So that has got to be told. That's the part right there. And we can't chop that up. So you're going to have to be troopers to hear the story. It's like watching a long movie. Then we have understanding. Then we have understanding after we've got it. The thing is, we got to pay attention through all the parts, to gather all the pieces and remember it. Then you're going to be understanding what you're looking for. All right. Jeremiah 23. It's so important. So Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 5, it says, behold, the days come, said the Lord, said the Most High, whose name is Yahweh, that will raise unto David a branch. That branch is talking about you brothers and sisters in the latter days. And a king shall reign and prosper. This is how important it is. That's talking about Christ. And shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. Just like his grandfather, the friend of God, Abraham. In his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. So in the days of the Messiah, Israel will live in salvation. And this is his name whereby he shall be called the Lord our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But liveth, which brought up and was led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country. So we understand how important it is for us to pay attention, because we have got to see and hear how the Most High is going to pass over modern day Egypt and deliver us from this north country and from all countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. All right. So it's so important. We got to know, we got to get this. We got to understand this. And this is the thing to be told unto us, that guess what? Salvation is going to come to you Israelites. Deliverance is going to come to you Israelites. And Christ, who died and resurrected, is going to bring forth justice, judgment and justice in the earth. And you're going to reign with him. All right. So his story got to be told too, concerning the Passover. And so when we start seeing the Passover, now we have got to start seeing the Passover, how the Most High wants us to see it, through Christ. And the lamb that was shed, instead of it being the goat that we took out, or the lamb that we took out, now it's Christ who shed his blood for us. All right. So, any questions? And those things take time. So, got to be willing to put some extended hours in. Got to find time to do it. It's a lot of material. And then we need the confidence that everybody that's sitting here should be able to do it. Especially if you're listening and you're paying attention. You should be able to get it. Remember it. Think about me when I was younger and I was constantly being taught and showed what things mean and so on and so forth. I paid attention. And through application, the Lord showed me that there are levels to understanding. And that's why at times, you know what, I say, let's think beneath the surface. I know how this looks. Let's take this to another level. So now let me explain something deeper than the one that taught me. Because now I see it and I understand. So let's go deeper. And the more we apply, the more faithful we are, the more we're going to understand. What's most important is for us to understand Christ, his role in this thing. Okay, that's the most important thing for us to understand in the Messiah. So from the beginning, it was going to be about him. Okay, so now, Matthew 26. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6. What is that? Matthew 26 and 6. Now when Yahushua, whom the word calls Jesus, was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had in this waste, for this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua, whom the word calls Jesus, understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath right to get work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman have done be told for a memorial of her. So all praises to the Most High for giving this sister the spirit to come forth and give Christ some comfort for his burial and bring forth the beautiful example of a broken and contrite heart. So all praises to the Most High. Now, the communion, 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 23. All right. It says, for I received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you. The Lord Yahushua, or Hamashiach Yahushua, meaning the Messiah Yahushua, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. So this happened on the Passover when he got betrayed. But he was keeping a feast. Just imagine somebody kicking the door in. Yeah, he was keeping the feast today. That was a Passover. So then we got a story to tell about this thing too. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup and he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. So see right here, Christ is saying for us to do this thing. And he's saying that this is the New Testament. What New Testament? Meaning covenant. So Israel entered into a new covenant with the Most High because they break the old covenant. They broke the old covenant by not applying the scripts. Okay. And then on top of that, they let the Roman Empire infiltrate the nation and lead them off. So the covenant was only valid if they were going to apply the scriptures. But they didn't apply the scriptures. So it was broken. Now through Christ, in order to be in the new covenant, now you would have to follow Christ. You'd have to apply the commandments of the Most High and follow the example of Christ. And at the end of the day, to make a long story short, the example of Christ is he did no sin. Okay? For as often, so it says, this do ye. So he's telling them to take the cup that represents the blood and the bread that is broken represents the body. So now if we're going to imitate the Christ, pay attention, we're going to now become just like him. Because wasn't the apostles like him?
Mm-hmm.
So if his body was the bread and his blood was the wine, to one another, people need to see us breaking ourselves. We're not trying to replace Christ, but people actually need to see us laying our lives down for this gospel's sake. And the life that is talking about laying down is the desire and temptation for sin, the lust after sin, the lust after evil things, anything that's outside of the righteous example of the scriptures. Because remember, Israel don't need no bad examples. And it takes sacrifice to perform the pleasure of the Lord. It takes sacrifice. That means you're going to have to think on your ways and you're going to have to say, you know, let me deny myself. That's what Titus is about. It's at 2:11, teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lust, that we should live soberly, righteously, in this present world. All right. So, for as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the Lord's death till he come. So now just imagine each and every last one of us. As long as we're taking this communion, it's showing that the life that was in Christ is inside of us. Yeah. The life that was in Christ is inside of us. Whatever Christ was doing, that's what we're to do. Whatever he would say, that's what we to say. That's why we have to correct and admonish one another on our lifestyle and our choices, on our decisions and our words, our friends, our fellowship, our communion. It can't be with devils. It has to be with angels. And you Israelites that keep the commandments, they're not keeping the commandments. You have to be wise. You have to choose your battle, man. You got to know that, listen, this ain't going to be good to me. This could cost me. And you're going to have to refrain yourself, because if you value it more than the Lord, the Most High will give you over to it. So you got to vow within yourself that you're going to show the Lord's death, that you're going to walk in this communion until he returns. Then it says, wherefore whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily, meaning you're not right. Because where do you think he's getting this statement from? Remember, a law only comes in effect when laws are being broke. So this is the communion. Who do you think he may have in mind? Please think about Judas Iscariot, because Judas Iscariot was unworthy, but he deceived everybody at the table. And that's why the Most High took the spirit away from him and gave his bishopric to somebody else. and allowed Satan to confuse his mind to the point to where he went and hung himself, and then fell and his bowels and stuff bust out and dogs licked his blood. Because he did it unworthily. He was not right. When you in this truth, man, you got to be right. When you in this truth, you got to be right. Now, I understand that at times I teach a hard class. Meaning teach a hard class, meaning I just shoot it straight and tell it like it, tell it like it is, with having a lot of fun at the same time. Don't get shook, and please do not be discouraged. Because Christ came to save lives. He did not come to turn you away and say, well, you're not worthy. I heard the class and now, brother, I'm just not right. I'm not worthy, brother. I heard it. I heard it. You heard it so that you could do what? Please say repent. You heard it so that you could repent. Not so that you can be broken to pieces and now nobody can put you back together. No, that is not the intent. You are not knowing the intent. The intention is so that we could stand corrected. Everybody understand that? So it's not to discourage you. It's to admonish you. So, shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. That means you'll be guilty of like killing Christ. Because Christ is trying to live in you. And you're resisting the spirit. You're resisting the spirit that's trying to abide and lodge in you. You don't want to do that. Can we imagine that? So what that is saying, it says you'll be guilty. It's like, how am I going to be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord when I wasn't even there? More than 2,000 years ago, I wasn't even there at his lynching. I wasn't there. I don't feel like that. You put him to death because he's trying to live in you so that he can help, so that now you can be that beacon of hope and an extension of him and shine to somebody else the way that he would do it, because you're here on the earth. So he's trying to walk in you to help somebody else. And instead you kill his spirit. That's what that's talking about. So killing his spirit is like physically killing him. That's how God is going to judge the situation, by us denying the Holy Spirit that causes us to walk in his ways and his laws. That's why you cannot be ratchet. You cannot be wrong. You cannot be false. You have to be everything contrary. You got to be the child of God the Bible talks about. How do you become a child of God? By walking with the children of God. Because they're going to show you the way, the truth, and the life. But let a man examine himself, so let him eat of their bread and drink of their cup. So that means you. Are you sincere? You know that you're sincere. I can't, or the brothers, the porters. That's what they call that, serve and usher and this porters. The porter cannot be like, let's skip over this brother because this brother is not right. Skip over this sister. This sister is not right. Nobody is told to leave anybody out. That brother back there, that sister back there, don't give it to them. No, nobody is done like that. That brother and that sister has to examine themselves. Where are you at in this walk? If you are sincere, now listen, if there's anybody in here that had turned down communion, but you are sincere, get your communion. Now, if you're full of shit, you see, then don't take it. I'm sorry I had to say it like that because I doubt if you feel like I'm feeling stuff, Sham. You ain't gonna, you don't feel like that. You don't feel like that. But if you make it, if you're doing the wrong thing, then stop so that you don't feel guilty and convicted by scriptures and precepts and laws and the spirit. And the spirit. Because I don't think that anybody in here is just like, guess what, man? I ain't right. But we have to examine ourselves. And if you examine yourself, and the unworthy that you feel is not the unworthy that the scriptures is talking about, then we need to know. There's a difference. Judas Iscariot was not worthy. He allowed himself to be deceived. Sometimes we feel guilty because all we're making, I like to call things mistakes. Let me see. Is that safe to say? Let's think about that. You know what? You're making mistakes. Let me say why I say that. There's a law about somebody that sinned through ignorance. Now, there's a difference between you being ignorant and you willful sin. There's a difference. Willful sin is not a mistake. Unworthiness is like you don't plan to be right. I don't ever plan to be right. I don't think there's anybody here. You might have willful sin, but I do believe that you plan to be right. Who don't understand? I know I'm saying a lot. Is there anybody that don't understand? Is there anybody that need communion that turned it down? Okay. Don't be afraid. Fear should come when we sinning, not now. You said, okay. It says, but let a man examine himself, so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, meaning judgment, not discerning the Lord's body. And that means that the Lord's body is talking about the members in Christ, the Christ. So we should have a fear of the body of Christ, meaning like, I don't want to teach you I don't want to lead a bad example. Okay, because that communion is saying, this is his body, this is his blood. I'm like his body. This is like my blood. This is like his blood, but my blood is like his. So you could like follow my example. So if I'm seeing you doing this and I'm following your example at what you're doing, that means that, okay, we're not going to get in trouble, right? Because I'm following you, right? This is cool to do, right? You see my behavior. So the problem is, if people follow you, then they get in trouble, then their blood is on your hands. So now, if we get to the point where we're not taking the communion because we have examined ourselves, we have now got to deal with the fact that, okay, people say, I ain't take communion, something must be wrong, this, that, and the third. You don't like that feeling. That's why the scriptures Say, get yourself together. Get yourself together. Set like the Lord told Ezra, set thy house in order. Get yourself together. Get yourself together. Like, what's it? Galatians 6:1. Don't go there. But what does it say?
If a man be overtaken and caught, you get your spiritual steps.
Keep on. What else it says? Sorry, I hit you with that one. Keep going. Verse 3. So Galatians 6:3. It says, if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. So in other words, if you think that you are actually applying the scriptures, but you're not, you're hurting yourself. You're deceiving yourself. If you think that what you're doing is right and you're wrong, then what happens? You're nothing. You're deceiving yourself. Now, here's our point. Okay? Here's a way out. You ready for it? For all the wounded angels. And there are wounded angels that's with communion cups. Trust me. All right? It says, but let every man prove his own work. So what do we have to do? That means while we're applying and we're fighting and we're striving, we got to go through the work that we're doing and go over it to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And then shall he have rejoicing. So instead of being sad, how do we get rejoicing? Prove our work, go through it, right? We have to go through it. Do brothers and sisters, do y'all ever think about the decisions that you're making? Do you ever think about the choice that you're about to choose? Do you ever think? I met a guy, I talked to a guy today, me at the water. He said he didn't believe in God. I said, brother, you don't believe in no God? I said, no. I said, you have a family? He said, yes. I said, well, what do they do? I said, your wife and children? He said, yes. I said, do they believe in God? He said, yes. I said, well, what do you do when they are trying to believe in God and this and the third? What you do? Tell them go over there like they just took a dump or something because it stinks. You don't want to be around them. He said, no. I said, okay. I said, but you don't. He said, no, I don't get into this. I said, okay. He said, she don't believe in God, huh? I said, all right. I said, do you talk to yourself? He said, yeah. I said, do you answer yourself? He said, yes. I said, okay. So when you're about to do something that you're not supposed to do, I know you're not like self. Yes. I said, I know you're not like that, but if you finna do something, and then I said, when you're talking to yourself, and then yourself tells you, don't do that. Like say for instance, if somebody get pissed you off, or you get mad, and then you finna go off, and then you say no, and then your conscience, your spirit, your mind tells you, yourself tells you, no, don't do that because this, that, and the third. I said, did that happen? He said, yes. I said, that's God. He had nothing to say because that's true. You understand? Satan don't cast out who? Satan don't cast out Satan. There are so many people that do not believe. So the point is, you gotta examine yourself. When you examine yourself, you have got to be like, okay, did I do this right? Okay, I did that right. Instead of just being feeble-minded, weak-minded, putting out works to where people have to ask you, bruh, are you thinking? Did you think? And you're like, no, I didn't think. And now you discouraged because the scriptures is cutting you. They affecting you. They hurting your feelings. And now you take it personal and you discourage, like, I'm not meant for this. I can't do this. I can only do that. Because the lust is too much. It's not too much. You have to tell yourself you can do it. I personally get pressured with a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm like, this is a lot. This is too much. And I was like, this is not too much. I had to do that to myself the other day. Yeah, so like, this is not too much. This is not too much. It's not too much. You are not the only person that has to take care of business, man. That has to fight the fight. Do y'all understand? You are not the only person. You are not suffering alone. But anything that you go through is meant to make you stronger. It's not meant to break you down to the point to where you give up. But you're going to have to talk to yourself. Self, what are you doing? And when you look at yourself, if you're doing something against the teachings of the Most High in Christ, then you got to know that this is not right, man. This is wrong. And then you correct yourself and say, let me do this. Let me do what I was taught to do. Let me do what the Bible says to do. Okay? Do you understand? So when you prove your own work, it says, then shall he have rejoicing in himself and not in another. Because a lot of times you might look for people to come back around. A lot of sisters, you may look for people to come around and pat you over the shoulder and tell you that you doing a good job, or tell you, hey, that's correct, that's this, that's that. I can't explain why it ain't came, but you can comfort yourself, and that's not all the time bad. When I say all the time bad, meaning, and don't do it with a funky attitude. I gotta pick myself up. Don't be like that. I gotta pick myself up. I gotta do this to myself. I gotta do this. I got me. You know, that's Satan. You don't feel like that. Because people are moved by the spirit. And the same way that there are levels in this truth, there are different people. People are different. Everybody is not the same. I would not lie to you. So I ain't coming to you telling you doing a good job if you straight up messing up. That's not on you. That's up to you. What the Bible says about soon giving credit. That person is light-minded. I will not. Now there are people there are people that I do come and say, you're doing a good job. And y'all know, if it wasn't so, I wouldn't say that. There are people in here that I'll come to you and I say, good work, you're doing a good job. I'm watching you. You're doing a good job. I see you growing. You're doing a good job. You're like, wait a minute, but you didn't tell me that. If I ain't telling you that because you're not doing a good job, you're forever fighting a fight. And sometimes some of you create a fight to fight. Why would you? The Bible says no man entangling himself. No man that war entangling himself with the affairs of this world, that he may please him who have chosen him. If you're trying to please the Most High, why would you go to war with sin? I'm going to go get mixed and mingled and get intertwined with sin. But then you want somebody to come and tell you that you're doing a good job. You want somebody to lie to you then. I'm not that one. So if you see something that I don't see, big boy, you should clap. This is the first time, man. I'm not that one, man. But that doesn't mean that, listen, that does not mean that you are not worthy of recognition. Everybody paying attention? We at the point. It does not mean that you're not worthy of recognition. It means that who has got to recognize it and see it first? Yes, that's right. You yourself. You yourself. You're going to be the first person to see it and recognize it. Once you see it and recognize it, and you have the confidence, good. Keep up that good work, because sooner or later you feel it after you have examined yourself and you have proven to yourself. Because nobody's job is to police you 24/7. They move on. And when they move on, they're looking and dealing with other things. But you still stuck with who? Please say myself. You stuck with yourself. So you still got to deal with that. Everybody understand that? You still got to deal with that. And the thing that you feel, they probably don't see it. They don't see it. I'm going to be honest with you. They don't see it. So when you start regrouping and turning and coming back on around, they still might not see it. But you feel it. And you see it within yourself. Just don't mess up. Because if they come for you, they're going to come with the correction of the scriptures, and they might say, this looks like the last thing. And you're like, no, this is not the last thing. I've been doing, I've been working, right? Yeah, you're going to be like, this is not the last thing. No, this ain't that. And you'll feel some type of way. That's why you can't mess up. You cannot mess up. You got to keep yourself from yourself. And then you're going to have rejoicing in yourself. And when it comes to this communion, you're going to be like, I'm in the spirit. I'm in the fellowship of the spirit. All right. So let's lose that and finish 1 Corinthians chapter 11. It says, for this cause, many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. So not being right, we know your spirit won't be strong. The Most High will give you over to sicknesses. And it says many sleep. You go back into the world, you go back to sleep, you get put to death. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. How do we judge ourselves? By stopping. But when we are judged, so if he have to judge you and you don't stop yourself, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world. So a lot of times people want the Most High to stop them without his chastisement. The Most High is going to stop you with chastisement. The Lord is going to stop you with chastisement. So it ain't the Most High is just going to let me know, and then this thing is going to, I burnt it up, I committed this sin, heinous crime against his laws, and it run its course, and whoo, that's it. The Bible says it's a marvel to him if one go unscathed. That's it, Israel. Most High, in Christ's name, thank you for this food and drink, amen.
Amen.
This is body which is broken for you. Okay, this is blood. Which one was that?
Some of it was the Lady Sheriff's, and some of it was on the other one.
I know we got cold talk from the man sheriffs, man. Call it manuscript.
And script.
Yeah, that's the people way. manuscript codes off.
All right. The manuscript. See, I start saying that, and then I'm gonna forget the original name of it. I've been in the store talking about the manuscript. Oh yeah. They're like, what is? I don't know about that one there. I had to ask him what it was.
I think it's spelled it wrong.
Huh?
It's spelled it wrong too.
Man in a Chevy. So this is it, Israel. Let's stand and face Jerusalem. Y'all stay around for the prayers, all right?
Shabbat.
Okay, Israel.
That was just like me. What kind of sex?
Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive our into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The labor's prayer, Luke 10:2. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the labors are few. Pray therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth labors into his harvest. Bless you, most high King of heaven and earth. Send more disciples and teachers to your harvest to gather your people Israel. Send counsel behind their laws to stand before their people Israel. Give to us strength to break down all lies with thy word. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The blessing of Israel, Numbers chapter 6:24. Children of Israel, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Children of Israel, bless one another.
Most high name of Christ. Bless you all.
Carlos, did you give him a shirt? Did you get the jacket?
It's for the shirt, right? $20. I got XL.
Okay, just sit there.
Okay. Should I put a few points on the notebook? I mean,
Yeah, just write on it. Right is for the shirt. All right.
Okay.
What's up, Israelites? Shalom. Most time, Christ bless.